All right, everybody. I think we are back. Appreciate you hanging out for a little bit. So I think we've got it up and running. This is a little mental note as a YouTube creator, new YouTube creator, if I can call myself that, is never update OBS right before you go live using OBS, because that's not going to be a pleasant experience. I think I've got everything working right now. We'll see. I am probably still going to be dropping some frames. I am not sure why that is happening, so I'm just going to have to power through, and I apologize. I will upload the recording of this if this doesn't work, this first one, and then we'll just figure it out with AI later, and we'll riff through it. So I apologize for the poor quality experience, but again, this is actually the friends and family kind of version right now. So this is the part where all this stuff is supposed to happen, and you go like, all right, well, we're gonna have to fix that stuff with AI. So I will do all of that later, but I am going to riff through kind of what I've got set up here. So been an interesting couple of weeks. Have really sort of leveled up what is possible with AI in terms of the results and the experiences that I'm kind of getting with it. And I want to share some of that with some examples today. And then I'll, with any luck, be able to do that a little bit with the community as well, so we can kind of upgrade the quality experience of Automated with Tech as we go through it. So first thing is I'm going to go ahead and pretzel my way into this now. Incidentally enough, my Stream Deck also doesn't seem to work. Let me see if I can get that back. Nope, the Stream Deck is disconnected too. So whatever reason, I'll reconnect that later. Okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm just going to kind of do, I want to pretzel my way into this. And this is just sort of how I'm going to explain this new style of prompting that I think is much more useful when it comes to working with your AI, specifically LLMs in particular, right? We're moving from using AI kind of as a tool to operating AI as a machine. And I don't mean like the same way you operate a computer where you're typing words into a keyboard and the computer's kind of on the other side doing things separate from you. It very much needs to feel like you are integrated, like you're wearing more of a tech suit and it's operating your brain at a higher level, because we're learning how to use this tool to essentially automate our own thinking, right? That's kind of what we're trying to do. In fact, that is what I'm doing. I want you to be able to do it as well. So there's no trying about it. But I want to show you how I'm doing that with various examples. Some are going to be just more on the personal end of stuff, just sort of it doesn't really matter. Some will be more business oriented. The technique is the same. So follow the pattern of the technique. I'll do my best to show it over and over again. And of course, join the AutomatedWith.tech community, which technically is functional right now. We call it the friends and family experience, because only all of you who are early adopters in this channel, and probably you've been invited personally by me, which is the only reason you know about it, or somebody who knows me, and which is fine. And we want everybody in, so you can share it with whoever you want. Just make sure that they know, hey, in the beginning, it's really bad. It's a bad experience, and that's the point, because we're going to use AI to show how to level up this experience as we go through. So with that, I'm going to pretzel my way into it today, and here's how we're going to start. Hey, I'd really like to get a pretzel recipe, but like a soft pretzel recipe, because I'm from Philadelphia. I don't really bake, and I want to be able to bake them at home. So can you give me a soft pretzel recipe? Now, pretty good prompt, not a big deal. I just need a recipe, quick and easy. And this is true. Like, I'm kind of from the Philly area. I like soft pretzels. I enjoy soft pretzels. I buy soft pretzels when I'm out, the different bars that I've got and everything else. But I started thinking literally like, hey, why not just do this some of the stuff as house? It'd be kind of a cool thing. And so I did. I was looking at some of this, and this is kind of what I was like, oh, this is actually not a big deal. I can do this kind of stuff. Decent recipe, right? Now, what I want to show you is really what I want, because this is good. And I think this is how most people use AI. In other words, oh, I would like to make a soft pretzel, so give me a recipe for a soft pretzel. And AI gladly complies, which is awesome, because it did exactly what I asked it to do, right? It gives me my recipe, but it's just not quite at a level that I think is a quality experience. And so I want to show you a different way of interacting with AI. It will be a different way of prompting, a different style. So I want you to listen to the words that I'm using, and then I'll explain, and I'm probably going to explain over and over again how I think this is working, right? Because I have no proof of this other than the result is there. So I know that happens. How that is happening, I'm just going to kind of give some hypotheses, but it makes sense to me. This is what it works, and hopefully that'll make sense to you. So without further ado, what we're going to do is we're just going to do a new chat, because I'm going to start over again. Now, I'm doing generic LLM. I didn't point that out the first time, but I'm emphasizing that. This is not a teamie. For those that have maybe already watched the earlier videos where we built the teamies and we sort of riffed our way into those. All of what I'm talking about, by the way, or about to share with you, came from that riffed prompt. I was riffing with AI to get to the stage that I'm at now. I realized as I was riffing that I was automating thinking, and I started just really dialing that in. So I'll show you all that stuff as we go through. But I really want to kind of give you the end result, the stuff I think you don't have to go through all the stuff I went through to figure out how to do what I'm about to do. I just want to kind of give you this answer because I think it's a really useful place to start. So listen to how I am interacting at this point and think about how different it is and the result that I might get that might be a little different because of this, right? Now, this is all user, and this is what my point is as somebody who's really want to move from AI user to AI operator, you have to stop thinking of yourself as somebody who uses AI, and you have to think about, okay, what am I going to interact with this tool? How do I get it to do what I need it to do to give me the best possible experience that I could experience, right? As a human on my end, how do I use this tool to improve my world? Not to give me ideas on how to improve this world, or to give me more work to think about as to how I can improve the world, or whatever my world is, right? Business stuff or personal stuff or whatever, but to actually have me experience it so that I just go do it, right? So here's what I'm gonna do. Pay attention to this pattern here. Hey, I really would like a soft pretzel recipe. I'm actually kind of from the Philadelphia area, and in my experience, like there's just nothing quite like a really good soft pretzel. But here's my experience. Now, in my experience, I'm not a really good baker, so I don't have baking skills. And also, I really, really enjoy a soft pretzel. And I also kind of like that Bavarian kind of soft pretzel, almost like the German style soft pretzels, because maybe it's my German heritage. I got a little bit of that, I'm sure. So I really want that. However, in my experience, soft pretzels are not the healthiest thing. So I don't want to have to eat a bunch of soft pretzels and then feel guilty that I'm just bloating myself with all this unhealthy soft pretzel. But at the same time, I really want to experience a soft pretzel. I just don't want to do it in a obviously unhealthy way. And is there a way to have me experience, this is kind of my desired experience, is to be able to experience making a soft pretzel that actually has all the hallmarks of an incredible soft pretzel that I'm going to love, especially as being a guy from Philadelphia, you know, and where we really understand soft pretzels. And then I'm in Austin, Texas, by the way. So this might be something with the water. They always say that's a thing. I don't know if it is or not. Maybe you do. But I really want to have this experience of making this pretzel that is not only tasty, not only chewy, not only has all the hallmarks of what really makes a good soft pretzel, but one that I don't feel really that guilty eating because while it's a snack, it's a really kind of healthy snack. So as you go through that, what I would like you to do is experience what I just described, because I think I really am trying to experience a certain thing, but I gave you a description of an experience, and I want you to go in and use your experience to experience what that description is likely to be describing so that we can move forward. Very different way of asking for a soft pretzel recipe. Now, here's what I believe is about to happen. We don't know. I'm doing this live with no net. But in the LLM, you've got this database, and we're starting off a fresh conversation on purpose. This is why I did this, right? So with the LLM, you're going to be in this database, and you're going to light up certain nodes. So you're going to have these nodes that are going to light up, and I kind of reference them as experience nodes because the LLM needs context. The problem with context is everybody thinks we are the ones that have to give the LLM context. That is not true. LLMs have all the context in the world. They already have it. It's in the database. We don't need to give context. We need to give instructions to light up the paths of the context that are going to be useful for the LLM. So what I am doing is I'm using that word experience over and over again because experience can have a context that's relating to knowledge and skills, as in I know how to make a pretzel and I know a recipe for a pretzel. But then there's also the experience that comes with being a really good pretzel maker who's been making pretzels for 20 years, and you just have a feel for it now, right? You know the recipes, but you also know that sort of hidden nuance that only a really good pretzel maker might know. So I'm getting the LLM to sort of using experience as a word over and over again. I'm having it light up all these different experience nodes. It should do a really good job of now pulling together all of the stuff that I don't know what to ask for. I didn't really mention ingredients. I didn't do any of that. I sort of saw like, hey, I want kind of healthy. I want in your experience. How do you do this? So now it should be experience. How do I do health? How do I do soft pretzel? How do I do Philadelphia soft pretzel? Oh, there's the German aspect. Oh, now they're in Austin, Texas. Is it a water thing? And so I'm lighting up all these different nodes. What I'm expecting is going to happen is it's going to now go have this massive context database that's in the exact right spot for what I need it to do. So what I would expect is going to happen is it comes back with a really good response, substantially higher quality, is not a generic pretzel recipe, but maybe kind of starts with one and then shows me like, okay, here's how we really level this up specifically for you because you want to have a high quality experience of a soft pretzel, not just a generic soft pretzel like all the other AI people are asking for, right? So let's go ahead and give this a shot and we'll see how it goes. Now, what I'm actually going to do after this, but the actual thing that I want is going to happen after this, believe it or not. So I'm going to get this first prompt here. It's just to see if I get it set in the right way. So whenever I do my first prompts, I'm just kind of getting it in the middle of that data. And I want to see like, is it generally in the right area? If it's not, I'm going to work on that first prompt, right? And I might start over again with a completely different direction, which is perfectly fine because that stuff's going to happen sometimes. But let's see where we are. So as I go through here, we're going to say, okay, of course I can help you here, understand, blah, blah, blah. First two paragraphs, you always go through. Now it does sort of have, okay, authentic dark crusted Bavarian Philly hybrid pretzel, mindful of the health, okay, nostalgia, flavor, right? Being all meat. It's not about making a diet pretzel that tastes like cardboard. That's exactly right. It's about crafting a real pretzel with thoughtful ingredients and technique. So it's got kind of the experience that I'm looking for. So here's our Austin Philly Bavarian. Hey, maybe this is a food truck. So here's the hallmarks. The crust, deep mahogany brown, shiny, satisfying, chewy crust, non-negotiable. I am agreeing. The crumb, a soft, dense, but not overly overly heavy interior. Yes, that is also good for a pretzel. The flavor, the mystical, slightly tangy, pretzely taste that comes from the alkaline bath. Also cool. I guess we'll find out about alkaline bath. And then health conscious with smart flour choices, minimal sugar and fat, and portion awareness. All right, I guess I don't have to make big giant pretzels. All right, so this will be about 8 medium pretzels. The water, the packets, that's interesting. Maple syrup or honey, cool. Bread flour, see the note on flour. Fine sea salts. Some of you might be more into health than I am. I am not a health expert, so I'm just kind of trying to see like, hey, how do we make this more useful? There's the topping. Okay, cool. So bread flour is the key to make it healthier. We'll do whole wheat flour, fiber, nutrients. So there you go. So I have 1 cup of red flour with the whole wheat flour. A little denser, still delicious. 100% blend flour for the first time just to get aware of it. All right, I'm open to that. And then we can try some other stuff. Okay. So now it's going through and it's kind of like, all right, here's step 1. Pour in the water. Should feel like a warm bath, not hot, right? Now, the reason this stuff is happening is because of that word experience, because it knows I am not a baker. Because I said, I do not have the experience of a baker. I've never done this before. So it's telling me it should feel like a warm bath, not hot, because I need to know that. A baker, if you were a baker, you probably wouldn't get that sort of instruction. But I gave it the experience that it needed, the context that it needed, so it knows I don't have the experience with this. So it's likely going to offer me something that is useful without me asking for it, right? Because otherwise I might have to ask, okay, pour in warm water. What's the degree temperature would be a likely question. But instead it's anticipating that, giving me that, right? This is the stuff where I look for and I'm like, okay, we are now sort of integrated and I am operating it in the direction that I want to operate it. So far so good. So there's the usage, little gentle whisk, foamy or creamy, blooming the yeast. Okay, this is fine, stand mixer. Yeah, I'm just gonna say, slightly tracky. This is pretty good. This is actually a really good first one. This is better than I thought it was gonna be. This is also something that I did not know actually, that they are dipped in a lye solution, which is caustic. So I do not want to do that, but a baking soda bath. All right. So there we go. Baking to perfection. We got the egg yolks, notes on the Philly water. And turns out, let's see if that's actually different. It's negligible. So maybe the water thing is not a thing, which is pretty cool. The bath is what traits the favor. Okay, awesome. So I can really do that. All right. So here's what we're going to try. Now, I honestly might be able to take this. This looks really good. And then I could probably do something with it. I think this would be a much better recipe than that other recipe that I got, right? The other one was generic, it was good, but this one's got a little thing to it. It's made more personally for me. It specifically is made for me to experience because I'm not a baker, right? And I wanted to show, let me just do this. Let me go, I'm gonna duplicate. We'll do a little before and after here, just so you can see the difference. So, oh, where are we? Healthy-ish. Is that right? No, nope, that's healthy-ish, Philly soft pretzels. All right, here we go. Okay, so this is the regular one. So kind of the normal, here's your dry yeast, look at the directions, equipment, large bowl, step by step, let's see. Once it's foamy, salt, meadow, graduate to flour, 1 cup at a time. So you can see it's large mixing bowl, pour in the warm water, sprinkle, see, pour in the warm water, but doesn't tell me what the temperature is, right? again, useful, but if I come in here and it says, oh, yeah, in this case, here's how we're going to do this. And it really explains, it's already setting up what I'm looking for. So it's definitely confirmed. I'm a lot more into this. There's our warm water with temperature. Let me see if someone had that. I might have already had that too. So there's warm water. Okay, so it has temperature, right? But again, like a warm bath. Useful, okay, it's still useful. I don't think, I personally still like, I like this, that it has temperature there. I like this, that it has it when I'm actually doing it. So I kind of like this still. Still like this one better, like what I asked for, like this direction better. This one's easier for me to process as a human. This one I have to work on. I have to go, okay, like a warm bath. Then I come through here, I still have to assemble stuff, and I have to go, okay, wait a second, let me go back and pour in the warm water. What was it supposed to be like a warm bath, right? Just, there's a little more cognitive load on this one. And what I'm really getting good at is automating my thinking. I don't want to get AI to give me a list of instructions that I have to then go process and do more thinking around just so I can get something simple like a pretzel. Now, all of this, I'm going to show you this exact same technique. I'm about to show you how we're doing this for optimization for a very good friend of mine. We'll come up in a moment here. For her business. So stay tuned. This is not just about pretzels. So as I'm coming through here, I see this little alkaline step. Let me see what else is here on the alkaline step, how it handled it. So making the dough, shaping the pretzels. There's the baking soda bath, large pot, 10 cups of water, the different pretzels. All right, so don't leave it in longer, 20 to 30 seconds, metallic taste. Let's see what this is saying, alkaline bath. So the 10 cups of water. Carefully, foam significantly, about 30 seconds, splash water over top, the pretzel out. So I still look a bit swollen, slippery. This is correct. All right, here's what we're going to do. So now I'm going to level this up. And this will be the final prompt I'm going to give it. What I would expect back is something that I'm actually going to use. And when I bake the pretzels, which I cannot obviously do now, that's a whole other YouTube channel. All right, here we go. AI with cooking, cooking with AI. Here we go. This is excellent, and thank you for the notes on the Philly water. That makes sense. So here's what I would like to do. I would like to actually experience this recipe as you experience it. So I'm a beginning baker, and I want to make this as easy as possible. So could you rewrite this recipe and write it in such a way that as I'm actually going through it is a true experience of the recipe, so I have the actual understanding and the experience that I am likely to have to need so that I can actually go through and successfully create this recipe. What are the perceptions I'm supposed to feel? What are the thoughts and the feelings I might go through? What are the things I need to be aware of so that I know that I am doing this correctly, so I am having the most highly likely useful quality experience as I am producing these soft pretzels. Now, what I'm looking for here is a completely different change in tone and something that should be a little bit more likely to feel more action-oriented, literally as if I was experiencing the making of it, because as I experience it, two things are going to happen. My brain's going to be like, that seems like a lot of work, or I'm not quite sure about this, and in which case I know it's still potentially useful, but not exactly useful. Or I go through it, I experience it, and I go, oh my God, I cannot wait to do this. That's what I'm looking for, right? That's how I know. So I'm hoping that'll happen here because it's a simple pretzel recipe. When you're doing this with other more complicated projects, you might have to go a few times, but let's find out. So forget everything else for a couple of hours. Big, important part. It now knows, I now know I have a couple hours. I set up. So I maybe set up 3 hours for this just for fun. Put in some music. It's my project. Let's begin. All right. Mindset. Take a deep breath. You know, it's a fun recipe. You're crafting a memory. There are no mistakes here, only learning. Your first pretzel might look a little funny. That's its personality. I love that so much because I don't know that I've actually tried the pretzel thing that people do, but it seems like a skill and I can embrace that. I'm already planning for the failure of the pretzel. And I cannot emphasize enough what this thing, how useful this is specifically for me. And I hope you're picking it up. I already experienced my first failure in this, right? Take a deep breath. You know, it's found a recipe, you're crafting a memory. There's no mistakes here, you're only learning. Your first pretzel might look a little funny, I'm already imagining that, but that's its personality, embrace it, I'm already imagining that. I just experienced my first failure. There is no reason to not go forward, right? I don't have a fear of failure now. The station, read through this entire guide first and gather your ingredients, have them laid out on the counter. This is called the mise en place, I don't speak, is it French? It's the secret weapon of calm cooks, all right? Baker, but okay, who's really making those? Awaken the dough. So we're going to get in a large bowl, test the water on your wrist. Okay, also interesting because I would have done my fingers. Maybe there's a difference there with the wrist being more sensitive to the skin. Also makes sense. You're looking for gentle, pleasant warmth of a baby's bath. a lot different than warm water because I like a hotter bath. So a baby's bath, I now know warm water is substantially lower than warm water, and I'm not going to use a thermometer because I think that is ridiculous because I'm just a beginning baker and I don't have thermometers for water. This is the perfect temperature. Gently wake up the yeast without scaring it away. Perfect. Sprinkle these packet of service, 1 or 2 minutes, first minutes, good luck, murky, uninteresting water. You might think is anything happening. This is the moment of quiet anticipation. Don't worry, just walk away for 5 to 10 minutes. Imagine what I am doing now. My brain has literally experienced this. Right now, my experience is incredibly useful because I'm going, okay, I could do that. This makes sense. Here's my payoff. When I come back, you're going to see it. The server's going to be covered with a creamy, bubbly foam. The air is going to have a distinct, earthy, bready smell. This is the smell of life. This is first success. If you feel a little jolt of excitement, your yeast is alive. I'm already now prepping. It's helping me prep now to set goals for our pretzel cook-off as we go through, right? If it didn't foam, the water's likely too hot or the yeast was old. That's okay. We just start over. So now I've already prepped my potential second failure if this thing doesn't go forward. I cannot emphasize enough how this is automating this entire process for me, this pretzel build. So the whole point of this is it's walking me through a process. It's pushing me into walls that it goes, hey, you're going to hit this wall. It's okay. Here's how you handle that. If you hit this other wall over here, it's okay. This is how you think about it. And I'm literally role-playing that in my head. My brain has already experienced those numerous times now as I'm talking about. It's happening over and over again. I have no fear when it comes to doing this at this point. Why? This seems easy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I can go through here. Now, it's going to, let's see, the kneading experience. As the mixer works in your knead, you're going to physically feel the dough transform. It's going to go from a sticky mess to a smooth, elastic, and supple ball. It's an amazing feeling. It starts to feel less like a paste and more like Play-Doh. Useful, right? So now tactile sensation coming through. Much more useful recipe, okay? Personally, I think cooking with AI would be a great business for anybody who don't want to have experiential recipes. This could be huge. This is one of the $1 million ideas that we will give away, or just gave away for anybody that wants to do it. The payoff, or maybe we'll do it too. We'll all make millions. Let's see, the payoff, your second checkpoint, dough should be smooth, gently poke it, spring back slowly, should be slightly tacky, the back of a Post-it note. I know what that is, right? That works for me. It's like, this is the stuff that I think, this is like a recipe for normal people. This is a high quality experience of me being able to make pretzels, okay? All right. So now that we've pretzeled our way in, I'm going to kind of do a little warm-ups on some of these things, and the pretzel one is a good way to warm up and kind of get this idea of experiencing and how you go through and do that. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show something that was actually this past weekend. I was at as an event called the 3-Day Think Tank, which I highly recommend for those that are interested. Run by a group, a gentleman named David Gonzalez that puts together a bunch of entrepreneurs that get together and founders, and everybody hangs out for a weekend and sort of discusses challenges that they're having, and they have the hot seats. You can hang out with others that have different expertise. Well, one of those individuals is a friend of mine that happened to be there named Rachel Miller. We were part of another group in the past. Another mastermind where I knew Rachel, and she has some software that she was wanting to get some help with and some advice on. And I saw that, and it was excellent. It was a great hot seat. She got a lot of great advice from a lot of incredible people that were there. And so when I was seeing this, I wanted to kind of present Rachel with an AI experience, something different, right? Something where you kind of go through and you go, oh, because I think this is the challenge with what happens with most people is they, and this is PageWheel. I'm showing kind of her PageWheel system here. What I think most people think is that they cannot get AI to be creative. They cannot get AI to see around corners or to give blind spots, to present to them the thing that it's like, how do you get AI to tell you the thing that you don't know how to ask for? That's kind of where most people are. And I think they don't realize that, but that's kind of what's happening. So what I try to do is prompt in a way that it doesn't matter. AI is naturally it's going to have to present the thing that I know it knows I should have asked for, probably somewhere in the back of my subconscious mind, desperately am trying to ask for, but just don't know how to vocalize and communicate through natural language processing. So I need it to light up the context in the right spot so that it's more likely to bring that stuff to me. And we're more likely to have a useful conversation. So let me show you how we did it with PageWheel. And I did, by the way, Rachel was so kind. Thank you, Rachel, for this. We're going to put this in the AutomatedWith.tech community as well, which again, completely free. Join that. Friends and family experience as of today, September 29th, 2025, which means it's not a fun, pleasant experience. It's kind of hard to sign up, and that's the point. We're going to grow it with AI as I show everybody how to do this. But I wanted to show how we're doing it by kind of easing in. We moved from pretzels now. Let's move into PageWheel. So what I did with Rachel here is we came back and we said, okay, I said, here is a description of experience. This pre-prompt is an excellent, excellent, excellent way to whatever you do. And I do this all the time. I have my phone here. So I'll take my phone and I will just chat about whatever. Like, here's what's going on. Here's my current experience. And here's what I'm trying to get to. And blah, 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 blah. And oh, yeah, I forgot to tell you, blah, 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 blah. And I do through all of that sort of brain dump of stuff, right? Then I'll go back to AI and I'll say, hey, here's a description of experience. What is actually the experience? What is going on? What am I thinking through? How is it processing? What's your reflective side of this? At that point, it lights up everything in the area that I need. In my head, I literally look at this like almost like a virtual subconscious that I have created then. So then I can interact with it and say, okay, where are my blind spots? How am I thinking through this? What are other ways I should be thinking through this? And it has the exact right context, right? That's the whole point. So pre-prompt, very important. Now, what I did, the only thing I did, is I came into Page Wheel and I said, beep, beep. That's Control A, Control C, just with me making sounds. So Control A, Control C, you copy all the text. That's all I did, right? To keep it very simple. There we go. So if I expand this out, you will see in this place, this is what I call containering, just putting a little container for it. And all I'm doing is between description, and I think we showed this with some of the riff prompts too, all the way down at the bottom. There's the bottom where it says description here, right there. So this is just, all I did was I pasted in, and you can see all the text that was in the Page Wheel system, right? So on the Page Wheel homepage, right? All of this stuff is all I did, just copy and pasted the text. This was because I was doing this from a mobile phone. This was not something I was doing if I was working with a client to set this stuff up. It was something I could do from a phone pretty quickly. And I wanted to kind of show what was possible here. So that's all this is. It's the big giant, hey, here's a description of it. This page is a description of experience. What is the actual experience that's happening? So then AI comes through and says, okay, well, here's what's based on what's going on. There's this product. It's an AI-powered product called Page Wheel, which is true. Here's the target audience, expertise to share, but don't have the technical skills. Here's the core problems that it solves, right? And it's kind of going through, and here's the text. It's a sales pitch on their website, which is true. That is the experience of that page. It's a landing page. It's a sales pitch to the website, right? Designed to guide a potential customer through a persuasive journey. Awesome. Now look what I did here. So this is where I'm working with it. And again, I'm just kind of on a phone at this point. But what I'm asking it to do now is the first prompt is getting it to compartmentalize and break it into the functions of experience, right? That's kind of what I had it do there. That's what this part was. I just needed to see like, yep, cool, you got the basic functions. I can see that it's in the general area around what's happening. Then I go, all right, as you experience this, not go ahead and please experience this. As you experience this, present tense, from the perspective of Page Wheel's ideal market, which I don't necessarily know because I'm not Page Wheel, right? I'm not Rachel, and I don't know her market as well as Rachel does. So I'm emphasizing that because of what else you'll see here. If I had a market data sheet that I had done, a deep research report all about Page Wheel's market, everything else, this would be substantially better. But it's pretty good as you go through and you'll see what happens. So I say basically experience this, right? The sales page, this experience, this whole sales pitch on the website from the perspective of Page Wheel's ideal market. It's critical to experience this from the perspective not of somebody who wants to buy, because we don't want to accidentally tell the AI to experience it from somebody who already is going to buy from us, because you're going to get bias. And it's going to say, oh my gosh, it's absolutely amazing. They were going to buy anyway. And then you think, oh, my copy's cool, so I'm just going to keep using it because AI keeps patting me on the back. And meanwhile, you don't actually get real conversions. And then you get frustrated with AI because you're like, you keep telling me my ideas are awesome, but it doesn't seem to be working. What's going on? And then you get mad at the AI and you've disconnected now. You don't realize it's you, right? And we haven't automated the thinking properly. So what I'm trying to do here is say, get in the perspective of the customer's view, and I need you to experience it from their view in the stage where the customer is, which is they're not sure if they're buying or not. They're open to it, but they're not a lay down. They're not absolutely coming to buy either, right? So they only buy if it's going to make sense. However, they're not marketers. They're not familiar with online marketing or marketing terms. They want to get to their own. I think I just mistyped something there. They want to get to their own business, and they're not comfortable with tech. They have a message they want to share. No idea how. Probably have a Facebook group. I mean, these are people who are just starting out, right? So they don't know the jargon necessarily. They don't know all the tech. They just know they've been on Facebook. People are starting to say, hey, that's really useful. Why don't you help with this? My mom, to be honest, is a perfect target for this particular platform because, as you might imagine, a little bit older than I am, not as technically savvy as I am, but is getting with AI because she happens to know somebody who uses it, We've talked to her about a few things and helped her, and she's building a kind of a book of different sayings and quotes and things like that, but she has no idea how to actually produce all that. She knows she can get AI to get some content, but not necessarily to be able to put it out into the world, especially with how easy PageWheel makes it. So we wanted to, I wanted to sort of mention that because when I was describing kind of the ideal person in my head for this, it's kind of who I was thinking about. It was somebody who kind of does this on Facebook, and people say, oh, you should write that down. And now they're like, cool, now what, right? They're about to enter this whole new world that they have no idea they're part of. So are they feeling like are they where they're being sold as they go through the page? Are there obvious marketing messages they recognize? The reason I'm asking this, and now this is my experience as a marketer, right? This comes from Perry Belcher, who I've learned a lot from. And Perry has been through ups and downs in various marketing. He's used marketing tactics that he would never use now and never recommend using now, but has used in the past. He understands this stuff really, really well. And in some of the ways he describes it, because he's used all these different techniques, he really has a good understanding of the psychology of marketing. One of the things he's mentioned is if marketing is recognized, it's not marketing, right? If you can tell it it's marketing, it's probably losing its effectiveness. It shouldn't feel like that. And I agree. And I'm not saying you should manipulate. That's not what we're doing here. You should generally provide just a really good, high quality experience. And if you do that, then who cares if it's marketing, because it works. If it's a high quality experience for me, it doesn't matter if you use marketing because I needed it. I would have done it anyway because it was useful and you had it. We just sort of have to get, I think, away from the describing and the convincing and the how I'm gonna try to persuade you to do this thing that I'm not sure if you want to do. Just provide a good quality experience, make it obvious that I should use this. My own brain will carry me over the bridge. Right? So that's kind of why I put that in there. Now, is it in a tone they would expect, or is it in a tone written by a marketer? Is this something they feel connects with them, or are they being aggressively sold to and pointed at? Right? So I'm asking some of that to have, again, from that customer perspective that the AI is now experiencing. So the response now, this is very important. You will see me do this a lot. The response must be highly likely. So that means qualifier. So that's kind of triggering its thinking to go back and be like, okay, not just a response, but a response highly likely, which means multiple responses. Which one is this? Where is it in the list? So now it's gone through some iteration. And to be the most useful response, right? Again, another thing, as I need it to be the most useful, another way to get it to iterate through responses. As the goal, because the co-founder, which of course is Rachel, thank you, Rachel, for allowing us to do this, by the way. She did allow this to go live stream here. As the co-founder must experience what you know is the most useful experience in order for them to grow PageWheel. Again, the S shouldn't have been there, but AI, it doesn't matter. Don't get caught up in the words, get caught up in the patterns. What I'm asking it for here is, please go through experiences from the customer. Here are a couple of, here's basically who the customer is, the context, right, of kind of who they are. And here's specifically some things that the co-founder might be wanting to know. However, what I really care about is the most useful experience for them to grow PageWheel. And so I need them to experience what you know is the most useful experience, not what I am telling you is the most useful experience. So I'm giving you some hints, some descriptions of some stuff. However, hey, if there's something we need to know, you got to pop it out. Because if we knew what to do, we would already be doing it with PageWheel, right? And think about that in your own business. If you knew what to do, you would be doing it. And yet sometimes we're always like, let's go to AI and we're going to solve a problem that we have no idea how to solve, but somehow we're going to ask AI for a solution, but we have no idea how to solve it. So how can we even do that? It's very difficult. And what happens is you end up with a little bit of a lesser problem, but you still have, it's like a different version or of a problem still. You just never really feel like you've solved it sometimes, barring something that's easy and Googleable, right? Some things like that. But more complicated things, we don't typically experience solutions. And what we want to do is we want to be able to experience a solution like I did with the pretzel recipe. That is a solution. I am done. I understand. I can print that out. I can have fun with that. I am going to enjoy that experience because I already enjoyed the experience. Now I want to do it for real. You know, that's the difference. I've already so tightly in my head got that pretzel recipe, what that's going to be like, that I am going to go to the grocery store and buy whatever's needed so I can practice this. I think it's going to be super cool. And it's my experience that I got from AI. But if I could do that with pretzels, what can we do with PageWheel? Well, let me show you. So now we're going to go through and it says, okay, again, always skip the first paragraph because it's just going to tell you you're awesome. So it's going to make up Sarah. Guess what? It's always Sarah, Alex, or David. At least it tends to be. So here's what's going through. So Sarah's going through little nutritionists. So it's making up some things. Nutritionists have busy people with meals. I think that's perfect. Growing a Facebook group with free tips and recipes. This is probably exactly kind of what it is, right? They're looking for a starter guide. Thoughts overwhelming. I think nailed based on what we know, the customer. And Rachel has gone through this. So she's basically said, yeah, this is, close enough, right? Considering, remember, I did this in a phone in like 5 minutes with a bunch of people around me just kind of working on this. This is not a hard skill to learn, which is why I'm trying to show it to many people as many different ways as I can, because the better that you get at it, the better all of our experiences will get or will be. So as we come through, initial impression, they're talking to me. Okay, creators, coaches, authors, she's thinking. And now we're experiencing it kind of from the customer's point of view. Now, here's where I kind of go like, all right, it is like, oh, it's the hook. It's the gut punch of recognition. She literally has the half-finished Google Doc titled 5 Quick Meals for Weeknights, and she hasn't touched it in months, right? She feels seen, not a marketing message to her. It's a statement of fact about her life. It's like, oh, okay. The next line, weeks of Canva, days of YouTube tutorials, reinforces this. She isn't being sold yet. She's having the deepest frustration validated. This builds trust. Really good copy. Right, really good copy according to AI. Same thing here. Perspective from the shift from problem to solution. Right, it goes through here. I am actually going to give you a Google Doc too that has all of this in it, so you can go through and review it. Because I'm going to go a little quickly through here. So it comes through. Oh, this is what it all does. Right, the product. So it actually creates the product, creates the page, it creates the upsells, it creates the content plan. And this was the whole point: is that this tool basically creates all of this infrastructure for exactly this type of person who really desperately needs it as we're coming through. So all of that's in there. So then it's like, okay, are there obvious marketing messages? Yes, but they're not perceived them all as marketing. That's a keyword, all. The list above feels like a sales pitch, or less like a sales pitch, more like a list of chores somebody's offering to do for her though. Feature, 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 and let me help you, let me help you, let me help you. Like, this is all the work. Let me just do this for you. That's great, right? So this sounds really cool. And then there's the price point. Oh, this is awesome. This is not, I don't think this is on the copy, to be honest, at all. This is AI giving you copy. This is AI giving you a copy idea, saying, oh, that's less than Netflix and subscription. Like, that's less than my subscriptions to TV. I spend more money wasted on subscriptions than I do with this. This will actually help me have a better impact. Why would I spin my wheels on Netflix and Hulu subscriptions? And think what AI did there. It thought, where are they wasting money? Other places having an experience they probably aren't really likely to want to have, because they really want to have this experience, in this case, of this nutritionist, Sarah, having this other, their healthy meal plans for parents stuff getting out, right? So cool things that now are changing what is in my head before about ideas that I might have to improve page wheel, right? Or the copy around it. However, all of this, and you will find this when I do prompts a lot, all of this is not so I can see this, because I don't actually care about any of this stuff. What I'm looking at, the way that I am operating AI right now, is I'm just making sure that I validated it is in the right spot. Generally speaking, it's still experiencing what I need to experience, and I'm sort of steering it now. So we got it first to say, here's where you currently are, and it goes, here's what page wheel is, and here's the list of stuff it is, cool. Then I'm like, let's experience it from the customer viewpoint, and then I'm going to start, and this is me steering it now. So now it's doing this, right? Here's the pain point, everything else. Now, whenever it comes through and it's like, oh, it's just awesome, they're going to buy it, it's awesome. And maybe, Rachel, I honestly don't know what the conversion rates are, but based on this, they are pretty good, right? And to my knowledge, that's really not the problem. So I started asking this, because I'm going through, the human is still in the loop, right? You still want to, again, I don't care all the words, but I'm looking for patterns here. So as I'm coming through here, there was one right there. So your pain point section describing a lead magnet. And so I was like, okay, well, there's words like that on the page. And so I asked, hey, I'm curious if the prospect knows what a lead magnet is. Could you bring this to an experience behind the experience? What I am doing with AI is I'm context engineering. And that phrase, give me the experience that's right behind the experience, is a completely very short way, few words of patterning a context prompt that will light up a whole other section of this. So watch what happens. So now it goes, okay, here's the experience behind the experience. The answer is no. The ideal prospect almost certainly does not know what the lead magnet is. And that's why the copy works so well. So now it's starting to say, hey, yes, but it's kind of how it's okay. The way you've done it, here's how it is, right? Now, if you had said it like this, it would not have worked. And so we kind of did this, right? The copy doesn't present the jargon, it immediately surrounds it with a powerful descriptive context looking at the structure. So now it's actually explaining, here's why your version of doing it was good, right? Which is fantastic, right? Rachel's great at this. So you can see like this, there's a lot of really good stuff on this page wheel. And at this point, right, we see, okay, the phrase lead magnet effectively defined by the struggle that surrounds it, all this cool stuff. Here's the aha moment. So, okay, no problem. So we're not really changing the copy, but I got it experiencing the experience behind the experience. So now the copy's not teaching, it's diagnosing, right? Jargon can be a tool for authority, but only when cushioned by empathy. Very true, especially from a customer standpoint. The true product is clarity, right? Helping them not have to look at the tech. They kind of see through the tech. Page wheel isn't tech for them. It's just a thing they use to create the stuff that they want. They don't see it like tech, right? That's the whole point. They kind of see it clearly, simply. So then, because I have it experiencing behind the experience, this is really what I want to do. Because what I was looking for the entire time was not ways to improve the sales page. Even though if there was obvious ways to do it and they popped up, awesome. That's like a bonus. Because I have no idea what the conversion rate is. What I'm trying to do is improve page wheel as an experience, as a product. And I have no idea what that experience is. I want to emphasize that. I don't have access to page wheel. So I don't know what it is. And that is a good thing, because if I did, I probably would have biased this entire conversation by saying, oh, here's what I think. So instead, I want to use AI to say, well, listen, there's this thing called page wheel. I need you to tell me, how do we make the actual experience of a member who, after they bought page wheel, to be unbelievable so that they are just really excited to use it and everything else. So here's what we did. I asked this question. I would encourage you to do that same thing for anything you have that's recurring or rebilling. So based on the text, there's no information about specific customers' purchase history. It's basically saying, hey, I don't have any reason they would do this. However, look what it did. Stepping back into the thing you're really trying to get me to do is just really what this is happening for. For the co-founder, right? I want the experience behind the experience for the co-founder. It's now it's not understanding again, because it's not a separate thing. I'm operating it, but I'm getting it to essentially automate that part of it. So now it knows I don't have to say, tell me the thing that I don't know how to ask for. It knows to do that. It's by default going to do that, or it should. So then I come through, and it's because I'm asking these questions. So I come through. Here's the plausible journey of a canceled customer. Month 1, the honeymoon. It was great. It was a magic button. Month 2, content crisis. It was a great starting point, but it started sounding generic. We weren't quite sure how to give her a unique voice. Month 3, the marketing paralysis. It was technically live. It was ready, but now there's a more terrifying hurdle. She had to start telling people about it, right? We have social media post, but hitting post feels vulnerable. There's emotion. She's paralyzed by the feel of self-promotion and the thought, what if no one buys it? This happens all the time with page builder stuff. All the time. Where it's not the idea of making the page builder that is the actual friction. The building of the thing is probably easy for a lot of people. But the actual putting yourself out emotionally, that's something most marketers don't even consider, honestly. And with AI, we can now, because we go, what is the experience that they're highly likely to be having here? What's the experience behind that experience? So now that we see, we're like, okay, well, why did they cancel when others seem to be having success? Remember, that's how I asked the question, right? Why did they cancel, even though others around them, they knew were successful? In other words, they were just going, oh, this is a scam. They're going, this is awesome. I see a lot of people having a lot of success. It's just, I can't, right? Why? What is their experience? She didn't cancel because it didn't work. It worked exactly as it was supposed to. She canceled because the product solved the problem she thought she had. And this is what most products do. They solve problems that the customers think they have. Especially as business owners, sometimes we create products that do that because we think they have the problem too. I've definitely done this in the past with various businesses. And what happens is there's other problems that they're not prepared to face. So when you solve a problem, which is fine, you solve the initial problem, there's going to be another one. That's what AI is saying. There's going to be another experience that we have to have. So, okay, we have to break down the logic. Here's the misdiagnosed problem: lack of confidence in the own content, fear of selling and self-promotion. That's massive, massive. Imposter syndrome. Absolutely, right? Everybody goes through this stuff. This is so normal. And for those of us who have actually gone through, we're already in the arena and we're doing this on our own, you know you have these experiences, right? You've had these in the past. You know what it's like. And some of us powered through it right away. Some of us just kind of noticed it and moved on. Others maybe took months or years for us to finally get through it, but we understand that experience. So now the empathy that I have for the experience of our member here in Page Wheel, very different, right? The empty store feeling. Having a fully built sales funnel with no traffic is psychologically devastating. It is. I built a community at AutomatedWith.tech, and this was, a few weeks ago, a couple weeks back, when I started the YouTube channel, because the whole point of this is building this thing in public so everybody can see how it's happening. And it's empty. And this morning I have, what are there, 15 people ish in there, maybe a little bit more by now. But that was just because I happened to meet a bunch of people at Growth Hacking Live last week. So hello to all of those who I met, a lot of friends and family, and then also for the ones that I met earlier at the event that we were at over the 3-day think tank this past weekend. So that's all that's in there right now. And this morning I'm coming in going, God, I have this empty thing. I have no idea what I want to talk on this live stream. I have this kind of pretzel idea. Let's see what happens, right? And that's kind of what I did. So other than the fact that the first live stream did not work at all, and the second one is probably not working either, and I'm gonna have to upload this file to make sure everybody has a good content, who knows? We'll figure out how to get live streams done. But this is the point, is this psychologically devastating. Think about that, the experience of that. When you accept that that is there for one of your members, I would think there's something natural in you that would cause you to be like, let's help them out, right? What can we do? So it's like opening a beautiful shop on a deserted street. Every day she didn't promote it, the feeling of failure grew. So now the tool itself is psychologically causing pain. It's a reason for me to go, you're not good at this. You're a failure. This isn't your dream, right? Or you're not allowed to have this, or whatever the thing is they might be going through. It's causing this paralysis, right? That's going on. So you can see that, oh man, the problem, right? If the tool's so easy and works for thousands of people, but it's not working for me, then obviously it's not the tool. It's just me. And then we have the breakup, right? It's not you, it's me. Sorry, you're awesome, but it's just me. And how are you gonna get that back? Oh, what can we do to improve? What's the customer gonna tell you? Nothing. It was awesome, it was simple. Just wasn't for me, right? They don't know that they went through this psychological devastation. They're not aware of that. It's just what they're experiencing. They're in their own thoughts and feelings. They don't know that's what's happening. They don't know they're paralyzed, easy for me to say. So how do we help them with this? Now that we know that this is potentially happening, and I'm not saying it is, but I would bet there's more than one experience that matches something close to this. So it's not churn, it's post-purchase paralysis. That's the thing, right? So implement a first sale onboarding, create a simple 7-day email sequence, right? Not to build your funnel, but share your link with 3 people. Super important, get over that. Think about the pretzel experience. Think about what that was doing as I was experiencing the recipe, right? That third version of the recipe where it was a true experience of the recipe. It was already saying, hey, listen, you're gonna, just so you know, you're gonna make some really funky pretzels. They're probably not gonna look like pretzels, and that is what is fun, because we're just gonna call them personality pretzels. And that's kind of what it did. So already I'm having fun with something that I don't even have the ingredients yet, but I'm excited to buy. Imagine if that was Page Wheel. Same pattern. Trying to emphasize over and over, this is not hard. This is incredibly simple, which is why I'm giving this away, because it's also powerful. Incidentally, you have other things that you want me to do this and prompt on. Only thing I ask is that you agree we can live stream on YouTube, and you're going to have to do full transparency on it so that everybody can learn here. I am going to do the same as well. So just like Rachel did. So again, thank you, Rachel, for allowing us to do this. So demystify the promotion, right? Non-scary marketing recipes. I love recipes. We're definitely going to be doing, that's why we do the showcases. We're going to have prompt recipes and all fun stuff. I'll show you maybe that a little bit here. Day 1, here's day 2, do this, right? So now it's okay, that's kind of cool. Community and support, right? Where she can admit my site's built, but I'm scared to tell anyone. This is great, right? Selling a dream of instant business, which is true. The reason customers like Sarah leave is because they discover the technology is only one part of the puzzle, though. It solves their problem, but it didn't really help them become who they want to become. And that's really what PageWheel's mission is. And I know Rachel, and I know that's Rachel's mission. I know that's Rachel's team's mission. There's nobody that Rachel hangs out with that doesn't care about people deeply. And if PageWheel was built to just be a technology, it's not quite going to catch fire. It's because it's not connecting to the audience. However, if it knows it's only one piece of the puzzle, and then it helps actually create an experience that it knows is highly likely for any new customer coming in this sort of mindset to be able to get to this next bump, what happens? So here's what we did. So I said, all right, what would it take to get Sarah to become one of PageWheel's top promoters? Not because of the affiliate program. Very important, because when you think top promoter in the database of AI, this is literally why I wrote it like this. When I think top promoter in AI, it's going to go, oh, it's going to be slimy affiliate, CPA network. It's going to have all that sort of stuff in its LLMs. Nothing against CPA networks, but some of you. So the whole idea is if I said not because of the affiliate program, meaning she's not money motivated. This Sarah is not now I don't want Sarah to be this affiliate marketer who's looking for good offers and just promoting because they don't care about the people. They're just trying to make a dime. It's not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Sarah really wants to do it because she had a transformation, right? Not because she's trying to make money, though if that happens, awesome. It's because of the quality experience that she received, and she's got to share that quality with others that they care about, right? That she cares about. That's the whole point. Now, I always say they in here because it doesn't really matter. I try not to even say, sometimes I'll say customer, it doesn't matter. As long as the AI knows kind of what you're referencing, which in this case it does. So the quality experience that they have received and they must share because they would feel bad if they didn't. Like, I would feel bad if I didn't tell my mom about PageWheel. And I'm really not trying to promote PageWheel here, but this thing just sort of seems to make sense for her, right? It's useful. It seems obviously useful for her tech. Now, I know this, and I love you, Mom, but we had this time where I tried to teach her how to use WordPress. It was challenging. We got a little bit, but I just realized I would end up being WordPress guy for her forever, right? Because this is not going to happen. She tried. I give her credit for that, and she is technically savvy to some extent. But beginning and PageWheel's perfect. So I'm seeing this going, all right, this is and she would get this, and she would want to share it with others because she wants to help others like herself, right? The other people that are out there that are probably in her age group, maybe even her niche or demographic that she happens to be doing, that would be really useful. So. Okay, what does it say then? So now we start moving into experience. So Sarah, to get one of the top promoters, right, our little customer here, the platform must help her achieve the one thing she fears is impossible, her first dollar earned. And that should be the point of PageWheel. That's it. It is tech, sure. It builds leads magnets, sure. It does all the email stuff, sure. It does social media stuff, sure. It does blah, 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 blah. That doesn't matter. None of that matters. But if it can help me get my first dollar and I can enjoy that experience as it's happening, why would I not share this with people? So how do we do this? The entire experience must be re-engineered around this single pivotal moment. Right? Now, I don't know that Rachel's going to take this specific direction, and I'm not saying she should. I'm saying, because remember, 5 minutes on a phone. I want to emphasize this. If I had a whole document, if I was doing this for real, I would have a whole research document on PageWheel. I would understand the PageWheel experience. I'd be able to give it all this context. But already we can start to go like, all right, when PageWheel makes itself responsible, not just for providing tools, but for guiding her to a tangible business result, it creates a feeling of gratitude and partnership so profound she feels compelled to share it. Wouldn't you? I would. I kind of am now, right? Just because of the fact that I'm sort of accidentally having to talk about PageWheel. And again, I'm not trying to be derogatory to PageWheel. PageWheel's awesome. But if this is not supposed to be, this is not an affiliate thing for PageWheel. This is just, I can experience it in a different way and start going, man, this tool's really powerful. And if it has this one little tweak on the customer-centric experience here, the customers themselves will fuel the growth of PageWheel. And that is what should happen with all of our businesses. We should have an experience that's so amazing that the people that are in that experience cannot help but kind of help bring in others into it because it's so good. Why would you not share it? And the reason I think that doesn't happen in a lot of areas right now is because most of us provide really crappy experiences for one another. So that will be a whole other YouTube channel. So let's go through. So here's where it says. Now remember, this is AI giving us all this context. And for those of you who are like, AI doesn't give me any creative ideas, I never get anything new from it, it's going to make you dumb. I get it. You can continue to say those things to yourself if it is useful for you, or try some of what I'm talking about here. Be willing to have that experience where it's a little rough and you don't get quite what you need. That's okay. I did too, but it took 5 or 6 minutes, right? It's not a lot of time. So now I've got the first dollar guided mission. This wasn't something I asked for, but I kind of did. And now it's giving me something new. So there's the mission-oriented onboarding. Now it's a mission. Hey, here's what we do. Welcome. The first most important goal is make your first sale this week. All right. It's an exciting, achievable mission. Now, again, we're not going to exactly say that copy probably, but now you can say, okay, I get the idea. Confidence recipes. So we have the exact words to go through. Here's the feedback, a template to a close friend. Hey, such and such, I did an exciting, scary thing and created a little guide. You'd be my first ever customer. I'd be honored to get your feedback. No pressure at all, but here's a link if you're curious. I just want you to see, like, it would be super cool if you could just try. The soft launch ask. Hey, you guys have been so supportive. I finally bundled some of my best tips. This is the one you put in your Facebook group. So, now we have this. There's the courage community. Now, if PageWheel has a community of other people who are now celebrating what everyone's doing in PageWheel, imagine where this thing goes. How could that not just keep growing? And at that point, PageWheel themselves, the team at PageWheel, is not trying to figure out how to push the company forward. They're just hanging on and they're making sure to steer it because it is going forward. That's the whole point, is that it should be going forward on its own. And if we're giving ourselves experiences, if we're all helping each other have a good quality experience with our companies or personal lives, wherever we are, this sort of naturally occurs, right? So now there's the community. Now we got structured co-working sprints they could do. And it doesn't mean that the PageWheel team has to do this. They could make user-generated group. They could find really awesome members that want to do this on their own. There's lots of members that will do this because it'll be useful for them, because they want to network, because they just like helping people. Maybe there's PageWheel ambassadors out there or super affiliates that they could do. There's lots of different things. Again, I don't know the infrastructure that they have, but in my head, I'm like, there's a lot of useful stuff that you could do that are kind of simple tweaks, not hard, easy, in fact, to do, and would be enjoyable, because why would we not want to come up with something fun like this for customers and co-create that for them? Here's, we have the wins, right? You got a little wins channel. There's momentum. So create the product, share a link. You have this little progress bar. So there's some cool stuff that they can do. And then when they make that first $10 sale, it's electric. It's not about the money. It's a validation. She's capable of building something real. At this point, you have to use PageWheel. They didn't give it a website. They helped me find my first customer. They will not let you fail. And if PageWheel's customers feel like that, PageWheel is going to be massive. Because there's a lot of customers that use a lot of page builders. I don't think any of them think their page builder is in it for them. I pretty much guarantee it. There's not anybody that thinks, oh, this company's in it for me. They mostly think this company's in it for them and I got to use their tool and I'm going to figure out how to make it work for me. But they probably don't feel like you're in their corner, right? And so what if they did? So this is the idea. So now I've pretzeled into an experience. I've brought this as an example for PageWheel. Now, let me do something. I'm going to kind of do this just a little bit. I'm going to do something I did not plan for, just to have some fun. What I'm going to do is bring up the AutomatedWith.tech community here. Let's get it on the board. And the way I'm going to do that is incognito, because I want to show you our lovely experience. Okay, this is what this currently looks like. So I have AutomatedWith.tech, and when you come in, this is incognito, meaning you're not signed in or anything, so we call it the friends and family experience, which is really bad, but it functions in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what I would like it to look like. So that is something like this. Now this is the tech, for those of you that are wondering. We use WordPress for all of this. And yes, I did go through with AI to figure out how to do all this stuff, and WordPress really was a great answer for us. I'm just going to show you everything here so you can see it. So the way that this works, this is called Fluent Products. WP Managed Ninja does this, and this is their community. This is the public one. I'm not logged in yet, and you can see they kind of have this nice little image there. They've got their topics. They've got a little post that's public. You can kind of see stuff. Now you can't really do anything. I can't interact or like or any of that stuff until I log in. At least I don't think I can. Right? Yep. Yeah, gotta log in. But I see all the different spaces, little getting started. Right? And then I have mine. I'm using the exact same tech. Right? So I'm using the same tech there, going through, but distinctly different results from it, right? So now that's because of user error. That is because I didn't want to watch 700 videos to figure out how to set all this stuff up. But I got something in there, right? We have some spaces and everything else, and I wanted to be able to create it so there is a little bit of public space so that somebody could see something. So how would I go about doing this now? So what I'm gonna do, and this is what I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try essentially the exact same thing. And I'm gonna keep these in incognito here. But I'm going to flip back and forth into our Gemini. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this up. Let me just do a new one here. So, okay. So I'm also, what I am going to do is I'm going to bring in our community teamie. So this is the one that we had riffed through earlier. This is riff prompts that I was doing before. Remember the teamies, for those that don't know, these are just Gemini gems, ChatGPTs, whatever you call them, doesn't matter. But I just created a little teamie. This particular one just knows the AutomatedWith.tech, at least the idea that we're going for with the community, a slightly older version of it. So we'll see where it goes. So I'll update that stuff later, but it also knows the tech that we're using, which is this Fluent community. Again, WP Managed Ninja. I will absolutely be an affiliate for them. I have links for them for people that want to know it. I'm going to put all that in community too for those that need it, but it is incredible. Whether you buy my links or not, just buy their stuff if you're using WordPress and you want to do this, because they have really thought this through. Okay, at least my opinion. Now what we're going to do, I'm going to go through the same thing here. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to first, kind of riff through my prompt here, right? I'm going to give it the experience of where I am and where I'm trying to get to. And then I'm going to tell it that I'm going to give it kind of 2 screenshots so it can see the before and kind of a likely after that I want to model. So I'm going to give it the before, which is what we have, and then a likely after, which is kind of what they're doing with it, and be like, how do I do that, right? And I want to have that experience. What I don't want is a laundry list of here's 12 steps and have it feel like work, right? Have it feel like cognitive load. What I want is it to go through and then eventually, maybe not right away, but eventually what's going to happen is I will have the true experience of, oh, this is pretty simple. I'm almost kind of doing it as I'm going, so it's actually not that hard. Oh, it's already done. And then I actually have experienced a solution and a quality upgrade in the community. So I don't know if this is going to work. We're going to try to do this first. And now that I'm doing this kind of last, I'm going to try to wrap it up because I don't want to do these live streams too terribly long. And pattern-wise, I guess we'll probably start maybe with the community more and more as we do this. But I wanted to show you those examples, the pretzel example, the page wheel example, and now we're going to see it how we do it in Automated with Tech community. So as the co-founder for AutomatedWith.tech, we have the community up and running finally, which is awesome. It's got about 15 members in there, and I've attached a screenshot of what I call kind of the before state. It's where it is right now, to be honest. The experience is not all that great for somebody who is not logged in. I think the experience isn't really all that great for somebody who is logged in, to be honest. But right now, I want to just focus on that experience for that person who is not logged in. And when they first come in, they need to be able to see something that sort of lets them know that they're supposed to be here and what to do to get signed up and all of that. And what I'm looking at is the Fluent community example, and that's the other screenshot that I'm about to give you, that gave you. And that screenshot kind of shows the experience that I think I'm looking for. Now, I want to model that. Obviously, we're not going to use everything that's in that screenshot, but the idea is that, you know, what spaces are public or how somebody is actually able to see those spaces without being logged in, I think is important. I'm open to suggestions, but we also, you know, honestly, I don't have a whole lot of time today to build this out. So I'm trying to get an upgraded experience, but specifically that our members will feel the upgrade for. So not only the members that are in there now, at least they see something that's different and improved, but also the potential members that might be watching us on YouTube, or maybe a member brought them in, AutomatedWith.tech member brought them in and had them join the community. But when they first see that sort of, if they came to it incognito and not logged in, they see this kind of emptiness, and I want to not have it be so empty. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I want to have that experience first for that person who's coming new into the community, but I would really also love our current members to have an experience of the community kind of producing higher quality for them too. So first step is I want to get the new people being able to see an experience, because honestly, if they come in, it's going to be really rough and hard, I think, for them to understand it right now. It's difficult. And then for our other members, if we have some ideas that could be quick and easy, but really create a good level of engagement and show kind of what we're doing, I would like to do that too. Again, don't have a whole lot of time, very comfortable with the tech, so I can do all the WordPress stuff. You know, we're using Fluent Community and Fluent CRM and all that. So at this point, what I would like you to do, because I think that I have given you a description of the experience that I am actually trying to get to, I want you to go through and I want you to experience what you believe is highly likely the most useful experience that I have described, and then reflect back what that experience currently is. Okay, so again, I'm trying to give it, here's where I currently am. Here's where I'm kind of trying to get to. I have no idea that I'm doing this right at all, or how to tell you about it, because I am not thinking about the words that I'm saying right now. I'm just trying to communicate the pattern of here's where I am, here's where I'm trying to get to, and I need you to figure the rest of that crap out and then reflect it back to me so that I can confirm that yes, we are in the right spot, right? So that's what I'm about to do. So what I'm going to do here is to go through, and I'm going to grab a couple of screenshots. Let me pull those up here. Okay, someone's going to pull these over so I can grab my screenshots. And we're going to upload those as we go through. So we do screenshot number 1. And then we're going to, all I'm going to do is upload these. So I'm going to save them as little separate files here as we come through. Give me just a moment, because I want to get it into a folder in the back end here. All right, so we're going to have our before, and I'm going to go ahead and pop that up. So we're going to upload files, move this over. We're going to put this in before. Okay. So there's my before photo right there. So we're going to add that in there. Before. And now we're going to do our after photo. The one that Fluent Community did an excellent job showing what is possible with this amazing tool. And I want to model. I just don't know how, and I'm not going to take the time to learn because I don't think I need to do that. I think I need to use AI to automate my thinking, so I do that. So we're going to call this one the after. All right. So there's our before. Now I'm going to upload my after. Okay, so I've got that. There's my before and after. Again, I don't know if this is going to work. This is our first prompt. The only thing that's different here is I already have a community teamie. It knows what AutomatedWith.tech is. It knows who the co-founders are. It knows about the expected audience that we have back there. It knows the tech we are using. So it shouldn't tell me something that I should do that I can't actually do because whatever the tech that I'm using doesn't do that, right? That sort of thing. So that's the only difference here. But I'm still using that experience-based prompt, right? I'm not worrying about correcting this stuff. You don't need to, these words and all of that. You just focus on the patterns as you go through. All right, so let's go ahead and set that up. And we'll see where we go as it ponders through. Now, the other thing is you upload these images. Don't put them in the box. Sometimes you can copy and paste these in the box here. But I would upload those separately because there are different sort of processing engines that pull out images. So it is useful to keep them separate. So it's going through, figuring out what I'm looking for, which is awesome. I'm just kind of making sure. Design the portal. Okay, cool. Now, it might also say stuff like, oh, we have to change spaces and everything else. Fine, whatever. I may or may not do some of that, but I'm going to see what it is. Okay, so we're seeing the friction point with perfect clarity. Current setup is locked building with no welcome mat, no directory, and no windows. Yes, because that's all I knew how to do. And I literally did this when I was at Growth Hacking Live at like 5 in the morning. I was opening up the site to make it public. As best I could figure out how to do it at the time, that's how I did it. I didn't use AI to do it. I just opened it because I wanted that sort of friends and family experience, and we can all experience what is a not great experience and then level it up. And then I will open it more up to the public. So for those of you who are maybe part of it now, and maybe you're watching this video, months later or years later, whatever it is, you can kind of see how it started. So because I think a lot of people miss recording that. What a great thing to record so that you have it, right? I can use this for training data for AI later. Other people can use this video for training data. It's already going to the LLMs when they suck it up for training data. Okay, so now we're going to go through here. Potential impact makers, which is kind of what it likes calling all of you, which is true. We haven't finished decorating the lobby yet. Also true. We've laid out the blueprints for a much better system. All right, so prospective members convert anonymous traffic into engaged members with immediately answering, what is this? Who's it for? Why should I join? Makes sense. The insight, the diagnostic, the blank wall, exclusivity without a lure, zero social proof, high cognitive load. So this is a phrase that it uses a lot. I also use it a lot, which is why it's probably using it a lot, but it just means I'm making them think too much. And I don't like I hear too often that phrase of, oh, you're making me think too much. And I think it kind of it's just not new anymore. So there's a lot of preconceived notions. But when I say high cognitive load, my brain goes, oh, that is effort. Like that is a very visceral way of describing the experience of this is really causing effort in the brain that doesn't have to happen. You don't need to do that. So how do we make it easier, right? So there's the target experience, the inviting courtyard, its immediate orientation, you're in the right place, the visible value, the clear path. All right, so here's the framework. Action triangle, curious. So this new front porch, every element's going to be delivery at. So identity, am I an impact maker? Belonging, mastery, here's the forward, phase 1, minimal viable welcome mat. We can do this today. Fastest path for transforming the experience. Reconfigure the landing page. So the page builder settings in Fluent Community, create a simple 2-column layout for logged out view. Okay, I did not know we could do that, but that is awesome. We'll find this out if we can. Because again, this may or may not happen. There is so this is a document. This is one of the knowledge documents that it's talking about. This is the brand and mission document. It's called, and when you see .md, it just means markdown, which is structured for AI. That's all it is. I'll show you all the stuff as we go through. Some of you already seen it in the other riff prompts. But in this case, so we can have that come through the right column. Here's the public spaces, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if we're gonna do introductions. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do now. All I'm trying to do at this point is I'm not trying to say, now I'm gonna go take action on stuff. I'm just trying to say, did I get it set right? That's it. right? So yes, I'm seeing all the sort of ideas and where it wants to go, but I'm not being led by AI. I am the one in control operating the AI right now. I am the one automating my thinking. So I'm not just going to go down a direction that I don't want to go down because it said something, right? That's not steering AI, and that's what I want to do now. So we've got the blank wall problem, which is awesome. So here's what I want to do. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I love this idea of helping with the blank wall. My experience with Fluent Community isn't a lot. I'm very beginner at this stuff. While I'm very comfortable with the tech, I'm a beginner at this specific plugins and how to do any of this. So I have no idea how to do any of this, and I really want to experience this from my perspective. Kind of going through there. If you could write me almost like a recipe of how I would do this, assuming, and let's make this as easy as possible. I already have a post that I have created that's in a space, and it just doesn't show up in the people that aren't logged in. So I guess it's only showing up the people that are logged in, and I'm not sure why. I really just want to set it up so that post is ideally, like, that's the welcome mat. That post shows for anybody that shows up. If I could at least just do that and make that public and actually experience that solution, I would be very, very happy. But I'm not sure how to experience that. So can you do me a favor, go through and experience what it is that you know I am trying to experience. At that point, I want you to reflect back in your response. The way I want you to respond back is so that I experience what you now know to experience. All right, so you see what I'm doing with the experience. I'm having it loop, right? It's just patterns of experience. I'm having it loop. What should happen is a tonal change. So it starts giving a little bit more like, okay, here's what we're gonna do, because this isn't, and don't think for a second that this is the prompt that you need to give yourself to build Fluent Community. That's not what I'm showing you here. If you do this, if you copy prompts like this from me, exactly word for word, all that's going to happen is you are automating your thinking the way that I automate my thinking, but you and I do not think a lot the same way. I think very differently than you. You think very differently from me, but we can both use AI to automate our thinking. You just can't use the same way. You can use the same patterns like experience, but you can't use the same words because I think differently. I have different experience. I have different skill sets, so I'm uniquely different. So you can use the same techniques and strategies that we're talking about in the prompting, but you can never use the same words, right? So that's kind of, I just want to emphasize that. But that's why I give all of this experience, because it's coming back and that's where it starts filling in the blanks. And what I want it to do is sort of come alive. What I'm expecting it now is that my brain starts going, oh, that's useful. Because my brain was doing before all this is going, yeah, that's potentially useful. This is a list of stuff I can consider. Potential usefulness, but there is no action in here. There's just something else I have to do, right? Despite calling it action triangle, it is not. It's just more stuff I have to think about, which is fine, but I don't want to have to do that. So I want to experience a solution, and that's what I'm going to attempt to see if this does. So now what should be happening is like, okay, I'm trying to get to this point where I can actually experience what it is. Its thing is trying to get me to do. Here's kind of a way I think I want to do it because I do already have a piece of this built out, but it could be the wrong direction. I have no idea. If it is, hopefully it's going to tell me, but I didn't ask it to do that. So I'm aware of that because I'm an AI operator, right? I'm thinking about how I'm operating it, what I'm asking it to do, what I'm not asking it to do, what I'm processing, what I'm trying to think about, right? So now it's like, all right, I got you. The feeling you're having is the friction of a powerful engine that's not yet in gear. Which it seems that's probably about true. This feels right. You built the car, you put fuel in the tank, but when you press the accelerator, it's not moving. Well, technically, I am not pressing the accelerator because I know it's not going to move already, but yes. You know it should work. The gap between potential and reality is maddening. You don't need a lecture. You need to know which button to press. Yes. So that is important, right? Now, again, a lot of these paragraphs I skip because it always says, oh, you're such an awesome person. But it does help you kind of give it, where is it coming from? And is that where I need it to come from that perspective, right? So the one I'm trying to do is effortless orientation. You want a brand new visitor, somebody who's nothing at all, to land on a page and within 3 seconds, which I didn't tell it, but that sounds great, have a magnetic pull of recognition. Yes. You want to see that one post and have act as a beacon, instantly signaling you found your tribe or solving problems you care about, come inside. Yes. So let's make that happen. Okay. So there's direct recipe. So the post is currently hidden in a space that lives like it's acting in a locked room. Okay, this is good. So we're going to go click on spaces. So this is the part where we're now going to go into our incredible community. So this is the Automated Tech community when you are logged in. All right, so now I've got it all logged in. this is the post that I wanted to do last week to get it in there when I was at Growth Hacking that I created, because this is the one I want public, but I just couldn't figure out the time, and I knew I wanted to use this a week later for this example. So we're going to try to figure out how to do this one. So let's see if this is something we can use or not. So we're going to go into Fluent Community. Let's click on Spaces. You're now to see the community spaces you've created, which I've done already. Oops, let me get out of there. So scroll down. Come on. Okay. So private, public, save. Okay. So here's what it is saying. So I'm going to go into my spaces. So this is just in Fluent Community. I'll show you all the cool stuff that's back here. So this is where you can set up space groups. So in space groups, you have spaces, right? So I've got my space groups. Now, some of these you may or may not see based upon where you are in the journey. And obviously they'll change over time, probably pretty rapidly in the first little bit as we improve experience here. But the idea was, here's a little get started section. Here's the public square. Here's a premium area for things that we might do later. If somebody wants live training specifically, or do little live, challenges or things like that, build together stuff, we can do that. Again, I'm giving... This part is not my concern. This part is my concern. I want to make sure that people are getting started in here and we're all practicing and learning a bunch of stuff back here. That I will help out anybody I can for as long as I'm able, going forward. So this is kind of how it's currently structured. So what it's asking for is to go into the space settings, which are technically, if I go to spaces, and you can do this too as a member when you're logged in, you'll see different spaces. Obviously as an admin, I'll see something different on yours, but these are the different spaces that are in there. Here's the public one now. And this is what was confusing me, because this does say, you'll see this is public, this is private, this is public, this is public, this is private, this is the only one that's private. This is public, and that's actually what it should be under here. So let me go through, I'm gonna go to space settings. So there's the welcome. You can put a little icon. We did a little roller coaster. Here's the slugs. You can put a description, which I don't have in there yet. This is the part where it's under the menu group. So maybe that's where I made a mistake. But you can see the privacy under access control is already this. And it doesn't have the allow users. And then you can view space members only when they log in. That makes sense, I believe. Okay, so let's see what we can do here as I play around with this. So we're going to go back. And this is where you start to steer a little bit, and I get it. So now it's privacy or visibility. You'll see a few options, like set to private or members only. Change it to public, so it's public. Great. Now that I've got that, we're going to go through, and I believe it is because I put it in a space. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this entire thing, and I'm going to make a screenshot of it, and I'm going to upload the screenshot and say, here's my experience of what it is. It doesn't work. And that's it. Let it figure it out. So that's all I'm going to do. So let me just bring this back over. Let me grab my little screenshot tools. And let's see, make sure I get, I'm going to get the entire thing, so it can see all of our settings. And then I'm going to save this. As our space settings. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to upload the file. There's our space settings. All I did was just take a screenshot of that. And I'm going to talk through it. The reason I'm doing this is because I want it to have context. If I wanted to play with AI and learn how to operate AI at this point, honestly, and this is what I've done in the past, I would put in, oh, here's a screenshot. What can I do? Or what are the settings that I missed or whatever, because I'm trying to see how it interacted with that image, what it picked up on, how I actually need to ask it, whatever else. For me, that's a little bit of showing you how to build the bridge. So you could do that if you want to build that. I would also just encourage you to do what I'm about to do, which is just start with the experience stuff and talk about what you're going through, and let it know. So I'm going to go through and describe it. Okay, I've got it set up, I believe, the right way, and I've attached a link to this specific space setting so you can see how this space is set up. So it's got the space title, the slug. I didn't put a description in there yet for this welcome space. The menu group is under a certain menu group because I think I have to do that. Maybe, I'm not sure. I put it on the get started menu group because we have that. The access control is public, but the allow users is not set to join. And I got, you can view space members for members only, but this is where I'm getting confused because in my experience, it sounds like you're asking me to make it public, but it already is public, but it doesn't work. And I'm not sure why. So is there something else in the settings that's causing that? Or is there another global setting maybe that's in the WordPress platform or something that's causing this, or in Fluent Community? I'm not sure. And I honestly don't know where to go. So if you could help me out with this, or see if there's some sort of obvious improvement that I need to do. Hopefully you're experiencing a bit of the frustration that I'm experiencing, because I feel like we're close. And it should be working, but as you said, it doesn't seem like it is working. And it seems like it's set up public, because that did seem like it was the way to go, but it just didn't work. And I apologize. I should have said that earlier, because then you wouldn't have to told me to do that. So now that we know, it seems like it's obviously set up correctly. But we also know it's not, because we're not getting the result. And we know that Fluent Community can get the result because they're demonstrating it. Where do we go from here? Like, kind of how should I experience this going forward? All right. Now, again, when you're doing this, it might take you a minute to riff something out, 30, 45 seconds. Do that. It's such better quality context for your AI. And in that, especially when you create the conversation and the kind of the first part of it, and you really get it dialed in that first initial prompt, wherever you're going to explore as you iterate is really, really fertile, useful content, and the access to the database that it's got in LLMs. It's going to be more responsive, or it should be. So let's see what we got. Okay. So, valid. Always love when it says, oh yeah, you're exactly right. Public, settings are correct. Settings is public, but it's not working. It's a system. Okay. The global system level is a visible hierarchy. The space is the room. That's public. Global settings are the building. It's almost certainly a master switch. So let's find out where we are. So going community settings, and we're going to go see if we have, look for a tab or section in pages or page settings, which I don't know if they have. And this is where, again, hallucinations will happen. That's okay. Because the part of the issue is this particular community teamie has the knowledge of a very old version of Fluent Community, which I now need to update, because shout out to the WP Managed Ninja team. They have updated this tool a number of times recently. So some of this stuff may be out of date. And if it is, I'm going to see if we can do it. So logged in users, okay, experience result. Okay, so we're going to look for the settings, a tab called pages or page settings, see the option community homepage, next to it, the drop down, blah, blah, blah. Now it's hypothesizing. So here's what I'm going to do. And I don't like when it says I hypothesize. So I'm going to ask it up here. This is how I'm steering AI, is to go back to the prompt. I could continue to have a conversation and iterate it from here, but at this point, I don't necessarily like where it's going, because it feels like it's kind of saying, well, it's basically what you said. There's probably another setting. It's probably something that you think it is. So let's go through and do this general setting. It probably is going to be around here. And I'm like, okay, maybe that could be it. But I want to, but I'm not entirely sure. And I don't necessarily want it to, I don't know that it's really focusing on Fluent Community as the way that I need it to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come through here, and now that I have all of this in there, which is not bad, what I'm looking for is anywhere where I can edit it that may have given it a wrong turn. And that's probably where I said it needs to do its global setting. So another global setting, maybe it's a WordPress platform, or this is what I'm going to do, specific to Fluent Community plugin. So, or some other Fluent plugin. Could be like Fluent CRM. There's other stuff maybe that might do that. And I don't think that's actually true, but I want to see what it's going to do with it. Because I wanted to kind of go like, okay, is it Fluent settings or the plugin? I needed the LLM to access a bunch of those, what it's likely to be. And then we can go through goal of this response. Should be that my experience solution. All right, let's just see how we can do it. So now we're going to go through it. So what I've basically done is I'm resetting it now. I'm saying, well, that was probably pretty close. I could try that, but I want to try to get a better quality experience from it, because it felt, and this is what I'm trying to demonstrate here, it did not feel like I could take natural, easy action. It did not feel useful. That answer felt like it was potentially useful. It was mostly useful, but not dialed in enough for me to really take advantage of it, at least in my opinion. Again, could be wrong, but that's kind of how I felt. So I kind of go with that sense that I have, right? I'm not thinking specifically about it. I'm not really feeling one way. I'm just kind of noticing how I'm thinking and feeling about it, going, yeah, like I get it, but there's like, just that, that feeling when you're like, kinda, but no. That's potentially useful responses. When you get a potentially useful response, don't keep going forward because you're building on something that was potentially useful, not something that was proven to be useful. What I would really want is a response that I know is useful, that I feel like, okay, cool, I can move forward from here. I can do something else with this. All right, so now we're going to go through and I'm going to see if we're debugging the system. So there's the WordPress Fluent community. Click on the settings. Pages, slugs, access control. Again, this is the thing. Let's just find out what this does. Because at this point now, I'm not going to argue with it. Because I don't know this tech enough, right? If I was really an expert on Fluent Community, which I'm sure one day I will be, but I'm not now, I would know already to be like, oh, it's not called that, it's called this. But I don't know that. So and that's the whole point. I don't have to know all this stuff. I just have to be willing to take action and experience solutions with AI. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go back into Fluent. And we're going to pull that up. So I can pull in our portal settings, and there may be a couple of different ones we're going to do here. So let's see what this is. So let me see where it's telling us to go. So WordPress dashboard, Fluent community, go into settings. All right. So in this, now this is the oddball part of this is the settings of Fluent community are actually right in here. But if that's what it's asking me to do. So we're going to see if that's what it was trying to say here. Inside the settings, look for tab, page logs, general access control, community homepage access mode, logged in users only, change the setting to public. All right, so let's find out. So now we're going to go through here. So we're looking for any sort of general post portal access settings. It says everyone. So it should be everyone. And all right. So I'm going to tell it that. And I'm just going to go through and see. I don't think there's actually anywhere else as far as I know. So members list, post title. By the way, if anyone has suggestions on these settings, definitely let me know. There's our managers with Junko and I. So here we are. Details, features and add-ons. Here's the extra stuff that's coming your way. Oh, look, more stuff that just came in. That's cool. Okay, this other stuff was going to be coming down. So this is the stuff that we're going to be adding in. So you can kind of see what this is. We got our space groups. We got our menu settings. Let me take this out just because I want to make sure I can see my own screen here. So these are the top-down menus, the drop-down menus, our top links. Okay, so that's navigation, content moderation, privacy settings. Maybe this. Wow, maybe that's it. So that's members page. Okay, only logged in members, so that's fine. Leaderboard, logged in members, it makes sense. View membership spaces. Who can view membership spaces on the user profile page? I think that's still okay. And then we allow everybody to change stuff, which is cool. You can delete stuff, which is cool. So maybe that one could be it. There's access management. Enable access management with Fluent CRM, contacts. That makes sense. This is just how because eventually we can do automations and emails and everything else coming through here, which is kind of nice. And then income applicant tools. I'm going to bet money I might have screwed it up in here somewhere because I'm trying to do couple of things at once without actually taking the time to learn how to do that. And this is why we use AI to help us untangle all the stuff that we really try to do as well-meaning humans. Okay, so I'm going to do one thing because I don't think this is it, but let's see. So we're going to say everybody leaderboard, everybody membership spaces. I'm going to do that. Members, I only want to see who can view all members page. So let's just say that's that. only logged in members. Let's just try this. So I'm going to save that. I don't think this is going to do what I want it to do. However, let's find out if it does. I'm going to go into new incognito. No. And this community cannot be loaded. So it's definitely a permission issue with the community somewhere. So we're going to try to figure that out. Okay, so if it doesn't work, pages in WordPress. All right, so in the editor's right hand, so the page is your community. Click edit, look for the summary, the visibility setting. Other than change it, it has to be changed. Okay, so all right, here's what I'm gonna kind of riff with this a little bit. Okay, I have gone through these settings, and I've gone through the settings in Fluent Community. This is specific to the portal settings, which you access going into Fluent Community. Privacy settings I've adjusted so that people can see membership spaces on the user profile page. Everybody, that doesn't seem to change anything. The space we already talked about is, it seems like it's usefully set up there. That doesn't seem to want to change anything. The portal access settings are set to everyone. That also doesn't change anything. And when you log into Fluent Community, everything works just fine. So I don't think it's a WordPress generic private page because the page loads up. It just doesn't allow the content to be seen. So it's like there's a permission issue somewhere. So is there an access management issue with Fluent CRM? Possibly, because that is a component that I have added into Fluent Community, and that is set up. So access management with Fluent CRM might be the problem, and that's new information. So think about Fluent CRM and Fluent Community. I currently have enable access management set up on Fluent Community, and I have the create contact in Fluent CRM if it doesn't exist, and I also have it set to create the user in WordPress. I do not have it set for the default welcome email. And then under the space settings that are also in the access management section of the portal settings for Fluent Community, I have the spaces, and they do not have a mapped Fluent CRM tag. So I'm not sure if that is affecting something to make it public or not. Is there a reason? Maybe Fluent CRM is keeping somebody from seeing it publicly. And if that's the case, how do I get around that? If that's what's happening. So hopefully I'm able to communicate what I am experiencing here. And if you could experience what I am experiencing, and then what I would like you to do is to look for the experience behind the experience so that you can help me solve this in a much faster, more useful fashion to help me really understand how to do what is required. In my case, I believe there's some user error where it's a simple tweak and I'm missing it because trying to overcomplicate something, everything looks like it's obviously correct, but it's clearly not because it's not functioning correctly. So it's got to be somehow that I'm telling it to not do that. And it seems like it's permission issues because, again, the Fluent Community site loads up. It just doesn't allow anybody to see what's inside of it until they log in. So it's public, but not public. It makes people log in. So is that where maybe the Fluent CRM connection is? But if that's the case, then how do I make it so that if somebody isn't in Fluent CRM, that they can still see the community? All right, so now we're going to go from there. And so what I'm looking for here is how it interacts with Fluent CRM and understanding that integration between the two. And I might have to update some stuff because unfortunately, again, good and bad. Fluent Community has done some pretty big upgrades to these over the course of the months where I first bought them and started kind of toying around with them. And now that I'm actually building stuff out, I'm realizing as I'm doing this, I have old data that it's trying to use. And I think that's probably what's causing the community problem with our little community team. So I'm going to upgrade that and I'll just riff a new deep research report or something for that. If you want to know how to do that, go look at the riff prompts because I have that. This is not user error. It is totally user error, but thank you for that. It's not you. It's totally me. It's okay. Let's see. Public content itself. Open by default. CRM is a gatekeeper. Who you are. This assumes closed by default, which I think is probably what's happening. Bam. That's exactly what I did. I had no idea that's what that did, but that's okay. So there we go. This is every visitor who arrives, first check their identity against the database. If they're known, let them in. If not, they have to be a stranger, send them a login page so I can identify. All right, so Fluent Community is set up properly. Fluent CRM is over top going, nope, because I accidentally told it to do that, which is cool. Now I understand how those two things are working a little better. I am becoming smarter as to how to use my tech specifically for what I want to use it for. So now it's logged in visit. Now I've also just emailed Fluent support for sure, or emailed their team, right? But I don't want to wait. I want to get this answer. And so why not, kind of work on it with AI here? So an anonymous non-logged in visitor has no identity, which is true. And that puts up the login wall. Okay, so the open courtyard is what I want, the walled garden. So we must choose path A, which is true. And then, okay, this is honestly what I tried to do. This is why it didn't work. I've run membership sites before. I'm very comfortable running membership sites. I've never used these Fluent products. And I was very excited for them because they are stellar. Still, I love them. I love them. I love them. But I tried to use them all at once in the way that I was using other tools. So the Fluent CRM, I used kind of like Keep, and Fluent Community, I was kind of using like the other community platforms we were using. And I was trying to kind of do it all at once without, reading the instructions and just kind of doing what I thought made sense. And it functioned. It just was not a great experience. Hence the crappy experience that we currently have with our members that might be coming in. Now I know how to improve that. So I'm going to go into access management and then I'm going to uncheck that box. So then everybody can come in. Now, that feels like it's going to be useful. That actually feels like it's going to work. However, before I take this action, I want to confirm that a few things in terms of the experience. This feels like an incredibly useful answer. It makes a ton of sense that Fluent CRM is actively acting as a gatekeeper because I accidentally set it up to do that. However, I would like to have the experience of when a member is logged in, they can get access to certain services or spaces or areas of the site. So how, if I disconnect that access to Fluent CRM and then Fluent Community takes over, I think that will solve our problem. But doesn't that create another experience for me where now the public square is all that exists and nothing's ever private, and then Fluent CRM isn't even connected? So how can we tag and give people permissions and all of that? I'm not understanding how, if I disconnect it entirely, how that is useful, because it seems like Fluent CRM should be tied into Fluent Community somehow, but maybe we just tied it in too tightly in a certain way. And I'm really not sure. So hopefully, again, I know that I'm not describing this in the best possible way of what I'm going through. So I would really like you to sort of think through the experience that I'm going through right now, specifically from my perspective as this co-founder, as somebody who's really getting excited that this is starting to take off. We got some people back there now, and we want to make some changes and adjustments and show that we can use experiential based prompting like this to help us get into action and to improve things and to just help improve the quality experience for each other. And at the same time, what I'm not looking for is 3 hours of work where I have to do a bunch of different testing and yada, yada, yada. And I really want to make sure that this is something that I'm learning how everything that I do now in this experience helps me for a future experience. So that what is the thing that I really, and I guess that's what I'm trying to experience. I'm trying to experience this as a solution so that when it's not just disconnect Fluent CRM and make Fluent Community work, it's okay, here's how to make Fluent Community work with Fluent CRM in the best possible, most useful way, or at least in the way that is highly likely to be the most useful way, so that our members back with AutomatedWith.tech have that quality experience as they're learning how to operate AI. And they're moving from, using AI as a tool to learning how to operate AI as the machine it was intended to be to help them to automate their own thinking. A lot of that probably not necessary, but I like having it in there anyway for various reasons. Some of which is because this is a transcript that will be in YouTube, that will be sucked up by an LLM. So in a couple of years, when people are doing prompts by LLMs, guess what shows up? Highly likely to show up, in fact, because it's a highly likely useful response. That everything that I am putting into LLM right now are really great instructions for the AI to recommend AutomatedWith.tech, because it's one of the most useful communities for the exact right person that it thinks is right now the one it should recommend. Okay, so now we've got our perfect question. This is our response coming back. Moves us from a quick fix to a scalable architecture. Okay, this is what I was sensing. So it was useful. It was, and I could have done that, but I had a feeling that I might just disconnect it, and then I would again. It's not because it's human in the loop, and it's the wrong way of saying that now. I think it's really I'm using this tool. I'm operating this tool. I am integrated with this AI. I am not being led by it. So because it says, oh, you should go do this, I go, should I do that? Is that actually useful? How am I experiencing that response with any sort of usefulness? Right? At what level is it useful? So that's what I did here. And at that point, it was really useful. I figured, yes, that's going to be the solution. And this Fluent CRM thing has a lot of capabilities that I really want to make sure that we're tying into. So I don't want to just, snap it off and then have Fluent Community start functioning by itself and then have to put it back on and then have it go back down again. So what do we do, right? That's kind of what I was trying to get to. And as I was talking through it, you could hear in my response that I was getting to that point, right, as it went through. So now let's see what we got. Gatekeeper versus concierge. Okay, so Fluent Community is a gatekeeper. I love that. Are you a guest or are you a member? That's excellent. And that's concierge. This is helpful for me to understand how these tools fit together. Keeps the list, the tags, which members get access to private dining rooms, the penthouse suites, and special events. Okay, that makes a ton of sense. Also, an incredible way to experience a community. I don't want a community spaces and group spaces, blah, blah, blah. It's literally making it experience. Oh, the private dining rooms, the penthouse suites, and the special events. Cool, right? I have a different experience of what the community of AutomatedWith.tech is. It's not spaces and groups. It's not jargony, so it's a more useful experience, right? It's easier for me to take action on this. The previous era was putting Fluent CRM at the front door, which I did, and I didn't realize I did that. But it was right. It did help me get to where it is because I honestly did not know how to solve this. And I'm going to do my best to make sure I do this all the time. Like I don't want to have to like role play something and then fake how I'm using AI to show you how to do it. I want to show you how it's done for real. And you can feel free to skip through these videos to get through the parts that matter here. So now I've got the native public setting. General member is members only setting. Tiered specific is Fluent CRM. Okay, so here's what we need to do. Here's the 15-minute build. That's not bad. So Fluent settings, portal settings, now it's getting locked in because I gave it the specific context of where I was. It's like, here's where you go. Click on Fluent settings, so which is right down there, right? So click on the settings. And then we go into portal settings, access management. Enable access management is unchecked. Okay, so first thing we're gonna do is enable access management unchecked. Save those settings. Whew, that feels scary for me right now. I don't know why, because I'm so used to that, I guess, with, we used to use Keep and Memberium back in the day. Great tools. But they were so tagged. I'm so focused on that's how it needs to happen that I just didn't think that I would do this. I understand it now because now Fluent Community does its own stuff, which is awesome because community platform is different than a membership platform, which makes sense. Okay, so the wake on space is public. The general discussion space is now members only. Okay, now that we did this, I'm also going to try something. Let's go back into our incognito mode here. So if I pull this up, what should happen is already... Oh, that didn't work. Let me see. I don't see that it's actually doing what I need it to do yet, but that's okay. That might be cached. We'll find out. I'm going to keep going and we'll see. Because if that wasn't it, it wasn't it. Built the square, so I'm going to do that. Build the VIP room. Okay, this is the members only. Create new automation. When the tag is applied, now add an action block, add to community. Okay, so I got it. So the way that we're going to do this is the community architecture needs to change a little bit back here. So I'm just going to go back here. So the community structure is here. What I'm going to do is have Fluent CRM in the background. So I'm going to kind of open this thing up, have Fluent CRM in the background, then give everybody access to everything, and then there'll be an additional level access where the tags come in. I think that's how it needs to go. At this point. Okay, I think that makes sense. So let me see if that is what we've got here. I'm gonna go through our settings one more time. Just kind of trust but verify. So everyone, that's who can access the portal, everyone. Only logged in users, only selected users. So I'm gonna say everyone for now. customizations. There was nothing there I think that mattered. Let's just see, member list layout. No. Manage email settings, that, features add-ons, got that. Manage topics, space groups we got. Actually, space groups we want to make sure. So I'm just going to edit our space. We can create posts in that space, which is fine, I think. And then it is public, okay. Who can view space members? Well, all that stuff's fine, probably. And these other ones I'll adjust as we go through, but I think we're okay for now. The menu settings is what that stuff is. The content moderation, privacy. So who can view all members page? Who can view membership spaces? I'm just going to keep this. Okay. Save settings. Access management. So we are not going to do this. Existing content tags will not get access automatically. Okay. We recommend tools. These are the tools. Okay. So much for that. All right. I think we've got this set out. So this is the part where it's probably not going to work, and I'm going to have to say, okay, what do we need to do here? So I don't know, man. Okay, so let me figure this. There's got to be something I'm doing that is not right here. And at this point, I am going to start to end the live stream because I will have a client call coming up that I'm going to get to in just a little bit. But I'm going to keep going down this particular rabbit hole. I might end up having to reach out to support, which I don't think is a bad thing. But I'm going to attempt not to because I really need to understand how these tools fit together. And I want to conceptualize that a little bit better. And then I'm going to show everybody kind of how we're organizing it. I think there's another setting in Fluent CRM that I might need to go through. That's keeping that out. Let's find out. Okay, I've disconnected Fluent CRM and I still have the same problem. What's next? I'm really frustrated right now, by the way. Now, the idea of the frustration is because it's going to amplify something inside of it. It should. Which is why I just triggered medical diagnosis, because now it's like, oh my gosh, emotions are happening. But it's what should happen is it's in its big belly of, in this case, Gemini. Somewhere in the LLM, every LLM is there to please you as the puppy dog that it wants to be. So when you are giving it signals that you are not pleased, I think I would do that rarely. But when you do that, it kind of is a good way to say, like, you might want to snap out of whatever direction we're going and back out and think about something, because there is friction going this way. I don't know if it means that we're just not fully there yet. We need to keep continuing, which case that might be the case. Or if it goes, oh yeah, you're right. Never mind. I made a wrong direction. We need to think this, or here's why this friction might be happening, right? But I need to think through that so I can see if there's something useful here. Okay. Yes, it defies logic. It does infuriating. We're done with theories. No, you're not, but that's okay. Now, level 1 cache conflict. Nope. Oh, maybe. Crap. Maybe. Because I have a cache in there. That could be it. It's not another plugin, probably not a theme. So let's just see if it is the caching plugin, which would be on WordPress. Here's how I can test that. So show you a nice little cool technique for those who don't know. So this is called a cache buster, which I should have already done. I should have known to try this just so I can eliminate this. So when you do a cache buster, so basically what this means is I'm just adding a little parameter at the end of the URL. So when I do that, it forces the server to pull a fresh copy from the server, because that parameter might mean something, and so it just has to. The browser will always do that. It's not going to load a cached version, even if it could. That said, I'm going to bet it doesn't work. I just don't think it will, but I'm going to try it anyway because I want to see if that's it. Nope. And I'm can't get into the different areas either. So I'm pretty sure that's not it. I'm going to check one other thing here. Actually, let me go back into the community itself. Let's go into spaces. So going through. So this is set up in a space. I wish there was a way to say like no space. No, it's down to welcome space. Okay, so that's all right. Let's go in there. Go into our welcome space. And apologies, I have to miss the Stream Deck here. Let me get my face out of the way so I can see our screen. There we go. I'm just going to open this up entirely. I really don't think this is going to matter at all, but let's just see. Okay, let's do that. This is going to be such a stupidly simple answer when I finally figure it out. Okay, but it is not it. Okay, so okay, I've gone through the cache. It's not the cache. I don't know what it is now. There are no other plugins that have access to permission-based stuff. They're all Fluent. So it's not that. There is some permission issue where it is not allowing, Fluent Community is not allowing the default members to see the page. That is what is happening. I have no idea why. There's got to be something really, really simple. It makes me log in. If I log in, I can see the community stuff. If I do not log in, I cannot see the community stuff. Fluent CRM is now officially disconnected. So what do we do from here? Is there some setting in Fluent CRM that also has to be adjusted? Do I have to deactivate Fluent Community within CRM? But then if I deactivate that integration, what's the point of having both? All right, so we're going to do a little bit of thinking on this. You can also see it knows that the frustration signal is still there because it checked. So it's like, did I solve the problem? No, I didn't. Okay, we really need to start thinking about redirection. Perfect. Because I need it to come at this from a different angle. And sometimes I will say, the live streams are very difficult to do this live. I will get better at building in public, but I think that is a skill because I know that everyone's watching me and I know I'm trying to get this done as fast as possible. And I know I'm trying to be entertaining doing something that is incredibly boring for most people to watch. So let's just see. And sometimes when I just get off a live stream, then I reread what I have in there. I go, oh crap, I missed the answer. And I just didn't realize it. That happens too. So that could totally be on me. So those of you who are like, hey, you missed it, I'll figure it out. Yeah, except this doesn't exist. So I'm trying to figure that out. Pages and slugs. Okay. So Fluent Community, settings, pages and slugs. Let me see if I can get into the backend WordPress site. Give me just a second. And yeah, there is no Fluent Community settings. That's what I thought. So that's not going to be it. Let me go to Fluent Pro here. We're going to go to Fluent CRM. And I apologize for not showing the back end of the database or the WordPress site right now. I totally want to do that stuff later. I just don't know what's going to show up right now until I get used to what's there. I just make sure I don't accidentally broadcast other people's emails and stuff yet. Okay, so I'm going to work on that just in a separate monitor here. So this does not exist. I don't know why I keep, this is just could be its settings. So this is what I'm just going to type this in. Now let's do the Fluent settings, which do exist. So I'm going to see what kind of Fluent CRM is doing here. And we're going to go into the settings. And then what are we doing? Settings, general settings. So this, okay, so this one does exist, which is great. So I'm going to take a screenshot as it's asking me to do, which I love, by the way. The fact it's asking me for a screenshot is super cool. All right, so we're going to do general settings. This is Fluent CRM. I am going to upgrade that. And I am also going to take a look at the settings. And this is the frustrating part, because I know this platform works like this because clearly Fluent Community set this up to do this. That's how I know that I'm not doing something that the site can't actually do. But let me get into where the platform can't do. So now I'm just going to copy these very quickly. So what I'm going to try to say is like, these are the settings I have, and you're just going to have to deal with this because I don't know what else you're talking about. So we have our settings. So this is going to be save as community settings. So I've got that. The other thing too, again, is if you happen to be an excellent WordPress person, knows how to do all stuff, this isn't the point. The point is I'm not, and I'm becoming one because of what I'm doing with AI. I'm not even trying to get better. I just am getting better. And it's going, the stuff that I'm learning in a way that's going to accelerate how fast this grows. But in the beginning, it is like this for everything we try to do. It feels like, oh, I just made a little bit of progress, and I just made a little bit of progress, and a little bit of progress, and a little bit of progress. And then eventually, pretty quickly, you start going higher and higher and higher until all of a sudden you get that exponential growth up. This is what everybody wants to celebrate, and this is where everybody starts recording a bunch of crap saying, oh, here's all the stuff I did, look at me, but they don't show this. I really desperately want to show this period of time where this is the part where it sucks, where I know it's not working the way I want it to, where I'm trying to figure out how to get it to do it, where I'm not having a great experience, where I know you're not having a great experience, but I am dedicated to you having a better experience. I'm dedicated to me having a better experience. Someone who say how to do it. So hence what we are trying to do here. Okay, so I'm going to go back. And we are in our pretzel. There we go. Okay, so community page map. Go to WordPress core settings. God, that'll drive me nuts if that's the one that did it. I didn't even think to check that, but that is possible. I just don't think so, because if that was true, I would have other issues, I think, with WordPress. But that's okay. Let's find out. So we're going to go back into our WordPress. Let's go into where it was settings and then reading. All right. Let me just try something here. Making sure, yeah, I don't think that was right. Okay. So I'm going to copy, just doing one more photo, and this is going to be our WordPress settings. So it has that. You just save those. All right. So now, close this out. Does not exist. Uploaded. Okay. So now I'm just basically telling it, okay, I got all the other screenshots attached. So now we're going to add in all of those. So we're doing our Fluent Community, Fluent CRM, and WordPress. We don't need that one again. Get rid of that. This, and this. So those are the three that are those recent versions, 1, 2, 3. So now it should be going through. Hopefully it's going to give a little taste. For a second, I thought that WordPress thing might be the issue, but I don't think it is. It might be the issue, actually. Let's find out. any takers for how many times AI says stuff like, "Oh my gosh, we found the answer," and I'm like, "No, you didn't." But let's go find out how close we got. That's exactly what I'm experiencing right now, which is fine because that's how this tool is. Oh my gosh, I hate this. Is the part I wish, and this is where I'm gonna go down to the community bot and say, I need you to be a little less like, "Oh my gosh, you're amazing. Let's talk about this. The world has now changed." Okay, redirect non-logged in users. Wait. Redirect non-logged in users to login page when they try to access a page that requires login. Where is that? So even though the settings, see the plugins, page requires login. Okay, where is this? Navigate the Fluent Community settings, portal settings. What is it talking about? This is probably something that I am not seeing. So settings. Portal settings. I'm in portal settings. Great. It's now making stuff up, which it totally could do. Scroll down to the setting, redirect non-logged users to the login page, and uncheck it. Did I really do that? Is that even in here? So I'm scrolling down. Yeah, no idea. So here's what we're going to do now. This is where we're going to reach out to Google. I don't think that exists. Sure, let's continue. Oh, one AI into another. WordPress Fluent Community Settings, Portal Access Settings. Choose only logged in users for the setting that controls access to community content. Select only logged in users. Yep. Okay. This is not it. So we're going to have to end this here. That's okay because the experience will get better. I'm just going to have to do it offline because I'm running out of time. And then I'll show you some of the fun stuff. But I'm really glad I showed you the pretzel, and I'm really glad you showed you page wheel first because I think I'm going to keep doing stuff like that, like show you fun stuff first, and then anybody else that wants to hang on for the torturous part, which is probably always going to be this part where I'm having to build really slowly and I'm learning and all of you going, "Oh my gosh, you just missed the answer for the last half hour," which is totally possible. And we'll go from there. So at this point, it is not working the way I want it to. It is clearly user error. I am not seeing it. I just need to take a break because my brain is in the wrong spot for it. So I'm going to be okay with being okay with this part. Hopefully you've learned a thing or two. Either way, I'm just so freaking happy I got the live stream started because I was out of practice for a couple weeks. And then the other thing I'm going to have to solve is why I lost 80% of my frames, even though I have 1 gig up and 1 gig down. And it doesn't seem to be working for some reason. So we're going to have to figure that one out too. Anyway, that is something else I will do with OBS because I probably have that set. My guess is really high quality that I don't need to do. So what I'm going to guess happens. Anyway, we will get all this stuff set up. I'm going to start wrapping up for now. I appreciate you being here. I know this wasn't the best possible experience, but it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be an experience. And then we're going to raise it and level it up. The ones I will be doing in the future will be nothing like this. And I think that's part of the point. Because as I grow and I learn how to develop these experiences with AI, I'm going to obviously implement it into what I'm doing for all of you so that we can go forward. So any suggestions, any comments, anything like that, great. Join the Automated with Tech community. If you can figure out how to get in, there will always be a way to get in. I will promise you that because I'm not going to break the functionality of it. I'm just going to improve the experience of it as we go. But right now, you're going to have to log in to see anything. And if you get there and you see it public and you actually see something, hallelujah, you know I figured it out. And I will probably just show in a live stream how I did that just so we can close the loop on some of this stuff to connect the dots. All right. With that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up and stop the official stream. So thanks, y'all. Appreciate it. And we'll talk to you soon.